It's not every day I get to start one of our videos by leaning upon a beautiful Ferrari, but today I do because I am at Evolution to talk about Driveclub. Yesterday is the community Q&A video. You guys left your questions, I've picked as many as I can, and we're about to put them to the experts. You ready?
Yep.
Let's get started. Okay, we're gonna start with Tom Lawson wants to know, will there be any real world tracks?
Yeah, so all of the locations in the game are roads based on real world locations. So they're all breathtaking. We've hand selected them all from some of the most stunning countries in the world. So we've got India, Canada, Norway, Chile, and one of them escapes me as always, Scotland. And they're all based on reference trips that we've done, the art team have been on, to see some of these most stunning locations in the world, to get a feel for what they look like, how they feel, what they're like at different times of day, because obviously time of day is important to Driveclub. And also how much sort of vegetation there is, what the plants are like, what the wildlife's like, what these places actually feel like, and then driving on them to see what they feel like when you're driving on them. And then we don't recreate them one-to-one in the game, because in the game you're driving at 200 miles an hour, and driving in Scotland at 200 miles an hour, on roads that aren't designed for that isn't fun. So the track designers take a little bit of creative license to make it fun, widen the roads a little bit, make some of the corners a little bit softer, so that we've got a massive selection, 55 tracks in the game, in the 5 countries that we've got, of some of the most epic point-to-point races you'll see in racing games, some of the most tight and technical and fun circuits, like sort of road circuits as well, and then also actual race tracks from each location as well, that our track designers have just let their imaginations run wild and come up with some really cool but authentically, realistic feeling race circuits as well. So they're all inspired by real places. You'll recognise them when you play the game.
Right, moving on. Tripleindie would like to know, will we be able to customise the cars? Talking about visual and performance-wise.
Okay, obviously, when you're in a club, your visual identity is an important thing, so visual customization of all of your cars is absolutely possible, and in fact more so when you can design your car that you want to drive, so to your own personal taste. Then you can also wear your club livery, almost like wearing a club shirt in a sports game, and when the club leader sets that up, it's instantly applied to everybody else in that club. They don't have to, there's no sort of file transfers or any awkward downtime in between. It's just instantly available for you to use. In terms of performance customization, there isn't, because we want it to be an even playing field for everybody that's playing the game. We don't want people that have got more sort of understanding of performance in cars. It's not that kind of game, it's not that intense. You just pick up, play, have fun. The handling model is sophisticated, so that if you do come from a simulation background and you do know advanced driving techniques and everything else, you can employ them in the game, you can use them to your advantage and shave milliseconds off of the lead, sort of leaderboard times, and really enjoy it and perfect the art of racecraft. But no performance customization, because we want it to be an even playing field. Okay,
right, moving on. One of my favourites, Poof Wookie would like to know, I have to say it like that, how will we be able to unlock cars?
So you unlock cars in the game each and every time that you level up. There are 2 ways to do it, so that you've got your driver level. So when you progress through the game, when you're earning fame for everything that you do, whether it's an amazing drift around a hairpin corner that you're earning fame for, or it's winning a challenge that 600 people have taken part in, or even coming to 500th place in that challenge, you earn fame for everything that you do. And that contributes to your level, and then you unlock the more advanced cars. We withhold them like that from you because it takes a little bit of getting used to, and we don't want to throw you in at the deep end and give you the best cars to play with straight away. We want you to earn them and feel the satisfaction of acquiring those in game. But then, so they're the cars that you unlock through driver level, and there are 45 of those. And then there are also 5 exclusive cars that you unlock when you're in a club and when you're club level. So the contribution that I'm making towards my club, and then my 5 other teammates are making as well, unlocks some of the more desirable and rare cars in the game. And then when you've got those available to you in your club, if you move to a different club, you don't have access when you're not in a club. If you move to another club that's of the same level, you get access again.
Okay.
So it's not a journey to unlock those cars each and every time you transfer between clubs.
Okay, nice to know. Okay, now Blackadder would like to know, how much difference is there in the feel of each car?
As much difference as there is in the feel of each of these cars if you actually got in them and drove them for yourself.
That's a pretty good answer.
It's true as well. So in terms of the audio, in terms of the handling, in terms of the visual fidelity of each and every one of these cars, the audio team, the vehicle handling team and the vehicle designers go to incredible lengths to make sure that we recreate everything faithfully, and then obviously make it a little bit more friendly and accessible and intuitive when you're actually playing it as well. But you'll notice from the smallest detail to the dashboard and the way that the dashboard lights up at night, to the wing mirrors and what shape they are.
Look how you smile when you say all these things.
I'm just picturing it, and it's amazing, to the aerodynamic paddles on the wire and the fact that they operate independently, and just every single detail for every single car helps you understand and feel like what these cars feel like when you're actually driving them. And for some of the cars in the game, you'd never get the opportunity to, like, you barely even see some of these cars in the wild, never let alone sit in them and race them yourself.
Amazing. Okay, Vspectra would like to know, will there be weather effects like rain and snow?
So at the moment we're focusing on the time of day and the transitions, and how much that sort of adds a level of dynamism to the game, how beautiful it looks and how much it changes each and every time you race. So sometimes, you know, if you're playing in first person view, you've got the windscreen in front of you and you're approaching a blind bend and you've got the sun glaring at you, it's massively, radically different to if you played that same track 12 hours later and it's, you know, it's nearly midnight or whatever. We are experimenting with other things right now, so with the extra time that we've been afforded by making sure that we're perfecting the dynamic menu so that the game's seamless and intuitive and everything else that you've seen today, the artists have relished the opportunity to add detail upon detail to an already incredibly good-looking and sophisticated system. So other things over and above just the time of day and the clouds and everything else are being developed and researched and everything else at the moment, but more about that closer to the time.
We'll wait and see then. Like it? Okay, Fraser Bruce, will there be visual and physical vehicle damage?
Yes, the important point is, as I was saying before, we want to make sure that this is always easy to pick up to play and have fun. The way that we've always looked at it is that crashing is enough of a penalty without also crippling the tyres and making the car slower. Generally, if you crash, you know, you've lost ground, you've lost time in the race or in the time trial event or in the drift. So there will be visual damage, and it's pretty extensive as well. You'll never there'll never be any sort of danger or threat to the driver. We don't want to encourage that kind of behaviour. But there will be bumps and scratches, and layers of paintwork will chip away, and the carbon fibre will crack and damage it in the way that it would if you actually were brave enough to drive these cars at these speeds and bump and ding into other drivers as well. But it never affects your racing. Cool,
all right, moving along. Plenty of questions for you, Jamie. Oh my God, the Random Z. Details about the weather. How can it be changed during a race? So I've seen some beautiful stuff today, but I know that we can affect it ourselves.
So there are a number of ways, I guess, that you can approach this. One is when you're setting up an event in the first place, you can choose not only what time of day you want it to start, or the cloud coverage, or how fast you want time to progress. But then also like how big the crowds are that are turning up to this event. If it's a challenge, how long it's actually going to last for, and it will always. So when you set up that event, the clouds will be procedurally generated, so it'll be fresh and unique every single time. So you see God rays in different places, and you'll be blinded by the sun, as I mentioned before, in different places and all that kind of stuff. When you send it as a challenge, it will always be fixed to what you've set it to, so that everybody gets the same experience and blinded by the sun at the same point. So again, it's fair when it's a game that's so competitive and fueled and focused around challenges. That's an important thing. But also, obviously, when you're playing events, you don't have to have the speed of the time lapse up to 60 or 100 or whatever. You can just have it still, so that you start the race at 6 PM with the sun just about to set, and it stays like that for the entirety of the race. Or you could do a 25-lap epic race that does a full 24-hour day to night cycle while you're racing as well.
That's incredible. All right, moving swiftly along. Cappy8888. Will it still be the scene where the driver gets in and out of the car before the race?
Yes. So every time you go to initiate a race, just as you're about to load it, the driver gets into the car. The race then loads and always takes less than 10 seconds, which is something we're incredibly proud of. That immediacy of how quickly you can get into an event or restart an event. And in fact, it's even quicker. If you've already loaded into the race in under 10 seconds, if you want to restart that because you've crashed or because you're trying to beat somebody, one of your friends' times or whatever, obsessively trying to beat it, it takes like 1 or 2 seconds to retry. But jumping around from challenge to a different race to going into the single player tour to progress through that, the speed at which you're able to move around the game is incredibly important to us.
Now, I'm right in thinking that there's both male and female models, so if you wanted to drive as a female racer, you'll see the female model getting into the car?
Yes, you will, yes. And obviously, the animation team that we've got have done that bespokely for each and every single individual car in the game as well.
Yeah, I got out of a Gullwing car today and hit my head, so I'm sure they won't do the same thing. Jordan Smith, why does the change between Dusk to Night happen so quickly? Now, this makes me think that Jordan might have seen the Canada video that went out a little while ago, but she'll explain the cycle.
So, exactly, sort of as I touched on before, you control how quickly that change happens. It could not happen at all. You could play an entire race at sunset or at night, or you could accelerate the time lapse while you're racing, so that sun sets incredibly quickly. It's all customised by the player when they're setting up an event or a challenge, or when they're racing online. If it's an event that we've set up online or an event within the tour, then obviously we've customised it to offer unique time of day and keep it fresh and exciting and offer different levels of challenge as well.
And when we were playing, we saw, sorry to interrupt, when we were playing today, we saw the Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
Because we played at night.
Yes.
And that was incredible.
It's rare and it's randomised as to when it can happen. You see it quite a bit in the Norway tracks, and because you're in Norway, you see it all the way around you as well. You can see it in Canada and you can see it in Scotland very, very rarely, and only ever to the north of your driving position. But yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. So
those people, if you happen to see the Aurora Borealis in Scotland, share it. That's pretty rare. Yeah. That's incredible. Okay, NP, and that's with 7 N's. Can you upload your own logos for your team, and how dynamic is things like the colour palette?
So you can't upload your own logos.
Stop naughty things being uploaded?
Absolutely, yes. And especially when naughty things are being applied to Ferraris or Mercedes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so no, you can't, but there is a sophisticated system whereby you design your own club logos. There's an awful lot of assets to choose from, so a lot of cool logos, a lot of different types of artwork, different letters and numbers and everything else that you'd expect to see. And then the colour palette's massive as well, so you can fine-tune and tailor each of those artwork, and the colour of the shield, the colour of the artwork, the colour of the graphical sort of elements around that as well, so you can get something unique for your club and a strong identity for your club. And then there's a lot more to do when you actually apply that to the car with the rest of the livery around that logo.
So we expect to see some really creative stuff. Brilliant. Okay, Slagatti would like to know what wheels and pedals will work with Driveclub. Now, we had a lot of questions about people who've purchased wheels and stuff in the past for things like Gran Turismo. So do we know what's going to be working yet?
Yeah, we do. So the important thing to, I guess, that I can understand why people say that they bought a PlayStation 3 racing wheel, they're looking forward to Driveclub, they want to use the wheel that they paid a lot of money for. That makes perfect sense. For us to be able to support a wheel in Driveclub, it needs to be compatible with the PlayStation 4 technology first, which isn't something that we can do. So at the moment, Thrustmaster technology is compatible with PlayStation 4. So not only do we support Thrustmaster, we're actually working closely with them. So on the T80 wheel and the T500 wheel, which is amazing, and a couple of others as well, we've got incredible levels of support within the game. We've worked with them really closely. In fact, there's a Driveclub exclusive T80 version of the wheel as well, which is amazing. Locking your thumbs into a good racing wheel is an amazing way to play it. I come from an arcade racing background, and I can still appreciate how satisfying it feels, how much closer it brings you to that racing experience. We're very keen to support more racing wheels as well. Like I was saying before, we know that a lot of people have spent a lot of money on these racing wheels. They are very good racing wheels. We play with them at the studio on PlayStation 3, but until they're compatible with PlayStation 4, there's nothing more that we can do.
Now, we were playing today and we used the racing wheel and we saw sort of real time. So as we were turning our hands in the cockpit, the driver was as well, and it was really incredible to watch.
That is incredible. I find it strange though, and because you've got your own hands on a wheel and then you see the wheel in the cockpit in the game. Yeah. But the cool thing is that there's actually an additional camera mode that just puts you in front of the hands on the wheel. So that and it's purposely designed for people that are playing with a wheel, so they can see their own hands on the wheel and then not another virtual set of hands in front of them. They're just the rest of the dashboard and the car. So again, just to add to that sense of immersion and how exciting it is to drive these cars, and bring you closer to the real experience.
Love it. Okay, moving on. Adam Lawrence would like to know, is there split screen multiplayer?
There isn't split screen multiplayer, no. We're constantly unlocking new ways of getting more out of a PlayStation 4. It's hard to say whether we're only just scratching the surface of what it can do, or we're already way into exploiting the full potential of it. But to also allow two people to play at the same time and to get the rock solid 30 frames per second that we it's so important to a racing game to have that rock solid frame rate. and all of the detail and the dynamic time of day and everything else. It was a stretch too far for us right now to get split screen multiplayer in there.
Fair enough. Okay, Kabber the runner, who very politely wrote out his name properly for me so I could say it, said, what genres of music will the game feature? Will it be in the vein of MotorStorm Pacific Rift?
No, it's not in the vein of MotorStorm or MotorStorm Pacific Rift. It is sort of in the vein of MotorStorm Apocalypse, actually, because we've got a bespoke soundtrack written by a group called Hybrid. So it's like sort of electric music. If it's not to your taste, you can turn it off, of course. But it's really good, really fast-paced, intense music, perfect for racing. And then also they've done remixes of that are more suitable for when you're sort of browsing what to play next and what your friends have been doing and where to go and what to do in the world of Driveclub. And then loads of some of the top tier DJs around the world have done unique mixes for us as well. It's like Noisier and DJ Shadow and many others. So it's cool. I'm sure it won't be to everybody's taste, but I love it, and I'm sure a lot of people will as well.
Hopefully, that sounds great. Right, Billy Peters, how big can groups and clubs be?
So clubs can be between 2 and 6 players.
Okay.
The reason that it started off a little bit bigger than that, and then a little bit smaller, and then we kind of, after a lot of testing and a lot of fine tuning, settled on 6 for now. We do have the flexibility and scope to be able to change that once the game comes out and we see how people are playing with it and how big clubs are and how active they are and everything else. So we will be able to respond to what the community wants to see and the data and analytics that we see about the game as well. But 6 right now works really well within the studio and really well while we're testing the game, for being a big enough number for you to get a few races online at the same time and really have fun racing together. And then also a good number to keep it tight and competitive and meaningful, and not so big that you just one number in 10, 20, 30 players. It doesn't feel that you don't connect with it as much. But yeah, it works really well right now. And the other good thing as well is that because you can have 12 cars on the track at the same time, you can have club versus club races where all 6 of your players are online at the same time. If they're not, then you could just do club challenges between each other, and then when I come online a couple of hours after my friends have been playing, I can pick up the challenge where they left off and sort of fly the flag for my club. Sounds good.
Right, RooTube would like to know, do we choose which friends are in our team? And I guess, if so, how can we invite them in?
Yes, so the dynamic menu makes this all incredibly easy for you. You can choose your PlayStation Network friends. So when you go to set up a club or look for other clubs to join, you can filter it by your PlayStation Network friends, people that you played recently in Driveclub, people that we think that you might be a good match for, so you play online at the same time, you're a similar skill level, you're a similar level in the game, you joined at the same time, all that kind of stuff. Just to encourage people that if they've already got a load of friends that are playing Driveclub, it's easy for them to connect and form a club with them. If they haven't, they can discover other players and build sort of relationships and form clubs with those guys. If you're looking for other clubs, they can set preferences for, we like drifting, we like playing on Fridays, we like Ferraris. If that's your vibe as well, you can ask their club captain if you can join their club. Some clubs, so you can control the privacy. When you're a club captain, you control the privacy. You can make it open and free for people to join, or you can make it invite only and they have to request to join, or you just choose your friends or other people that you want to join. But yeah, that's how it works.
Oh, wonderful. Right, Aionshanks would like to know, can I jump in and out of single player to a race with friends seamlessly?
Yes.
There you go. You can leave it there if you want.
Answer. No, it's a very sophisticated system that we'll be showing you a lot more of a little bit closer to launch. It ties into everything that we're doing with the dynamic menu right now. We want you to be able to move freely and join your friends freely, and that's what social means to us. It's not connecting to other devices and other platforms like Facebook and Twitter and spamming friends and all that kind of stuff. It's actually having fun and playing with your friends, whether that be in the same race at the same time as them, as that question asked, jumping out of what you were doing before to go and join your friends, or whether it's they're playing on an evening and then you play the following day. You can see what they've been up to, you can get involved in the challenges that they've been playing. So you're constantly connected and constantly, especially when you're in the same club, earning fame together, earning rewards together, and sharing the experience and the fun of driving together.
Amazing. We're almost there. Right, Donnie Helton would like to know, what is the difference between the PS Plus edition and the one you might go out and buy in the store?
Okay, so it's very easy to explain actually. The PlayStation, I'll start with the full version of the game. The full version of the game has got all of the cars, all of the tracks, that's 50 cars, 55 tracks, and then all of the single player mode, multiplayer mode, absolutely everything else available to play. The PlayStation Plus edition has a smaller set of those cars and tracks, so you get 5 cars that you can unlock on your own for your driver level, 5 cars that you can unlock by being within a club, so you can join clubs with other players that have got the full version of the game. And then you only have access to one of the countries in the game, so you've got access to 11 of the tracks. You're not separated or segregated from the rest of the community though. It's one community, it's everybody that's playing Driveclub, whether it's PlayStation Plus edition or it's the full version of the game, can all play seamlessly together. Obviously, if you've only got the PlayStation Plus edition, you can't play on the tracks in Canada, you can't race online at the same time with your friends in Norway because you don't have access to those tracks. So you would need to upgrade or own the full game to be able to do that. But you can still earn trophies together. It's a great way. If you're interested in Driveclub and you're liking Driveclub and you're into racing games, the full version of the game is the best version for you. If you are undecided or you're intrigued by it but not quite sure, try the PlayStation Plus edition first. The cool thing is though, if you are into Driveclub and you want to build a club up and you want to get your friends into it, the PlayStation Plus edition is obviously the easier recommendation to make. Yeah. They can just jump into that, start playing with you, start challenging you, join your club, earn rewards together, get a taste for it, get a feel for it. And then upgrade to the full version of the game. If you have the PS Plus edition and you've been enjoying it and loving it and you happen to go out to a shop and buy it, does all of your everything you've done carry over? Perfect. And if you have the PS Plus edition, can you get that all-important Platinum trophy? Yeah, I believe so, yeah. There you go. It'll be a little bit more difficult. It might take you a little bit longer because you don't have access to all of the cars and all of the tracks in the game. But yes, you can. Thank you very much. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned to the YouTube channel because we'll have even more from Driveclub and, of course, everything from the world of PlayStation.